Okay, thank you everyone and welcome to the April 3rd, 2023 Town of Monroe meeting. Can I get a motion to open up tonight's meeting in a second?
I'll second.
Begin motion, seconded by Scancarello. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay. Just give me a second here. First order of business is the Orange County Household Waste and Hazardous Household and Hazardous Waste Collection. A reminder: it's next Saturday, April 15th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They take about any and all household waste that you will have, and it's at the Orange County Transfer Station Maintenance Garage on 21 Training Center Lane in New Hampton. That's across from the Mid-Hudson Psychiatric Center. Councilman Scancarello, you want to just give it? Actually, you know what? You have the food truck. Councilwoman Houle, would you like to give an update on Clean Sweep?
Yes, so Clean Sweep is going to be happening on April 22nd, which is a Saturday this year. And we will be meeting at St. Anastasia's at 8 o'clock in the morning to send all of our sweepers out throughout the town and villages of Monroe and Harriman. We'll be doing all of the waste collection, so all of the tire collection, as well as the shredding. Is the shredding happening at St. A's?
All of it, yep.
All of it. So the tire recycling, the shredding, and the electronics recycling will all be collected at St. Anastasia's that morning. And we have some great sponsors, and we have some great people signed up, and it should be a wonderful day. And I look forward to getting Monroe cleaned up. And hopefully, we can get enough people to appreciate the cleaning up that we're doing, that they don't throw trash back on the roads, at least within the first 24 hours.
Yeah. Becomes a little bit of a problem.
It does.
So.
It always amazes me on how much garbage we actually pick up that day.
Isn't it crazy?
We fill up a 30-yard dumpster with garbage bags. So and we've been doing it for 7 years like that since I've been here.
Seems like the last few years it's grown in popularity. You get more residents.
I had so many people reach out last year saying what a great time they had, and they came out with their kids. And they weren't part of like the Scouts. They were just a bunch of kids and their parents, and they came out and they cleaned up stuff and they had a great time.
Yeah, kids are definitely looking for things to volunteer, and that would be a wonderful thing just for them to start with, that one activity.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Just a follow-up to that, Rhonda Avlar, who was at our last meeting, did have a conversation with Paul Campanello, who's from the Greater Monroe Chamber of Commerce, and him and Charlie kind of head up this Clean Sweep event, and they're looking to do something possibly in the fall. Yep. So that's good, yeah. Councilman Scancarello, Town of Monroe Food Truck Festival.
Okay, so Food Truck Festival, Saturday, June 17th, 11 to 7 p.m. We currently have close to 15 trucks. I'll probably add a few more. The music lineup is set. We have the Upshifters, local band, one night only, local band, Mimicking Mars, local band, Rewind, local band, and last but not least, from 4 to 6, ladies from the 80s who were just amazing last year. So come out, tell your friends, support it. We have some great beneficiaries this year that will be donating whatever profits we make to this organization. So please come out and support our great, great food truck festival.
Yeah, so this year's beneficiary are the Sacred Heart Food Pantry, the Presbyterian Church Food Pantry, and the Methodist, United Methodist Church Food Pantry. I have a meeting set up with them, setting up a meeting with them. All good.
Great.
Okay, first public hearing tonight. We have 6 of them. So I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding proposed amendments to local law E-V1 of 2021, amending Chapter 57 zoning to establish a 2-family dwelling overlay for the area of the town of Monroe north of Route 17. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
And aye.
Okay.
No public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, so we're very fortunate to have our town planner here this evening. I know he has submitted comments, and so at this point, I think we should incorporate those comments into the local law, or amend the local law with those comments, have it on for the next meeting, get any final input, close it at that point, and vote on it. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, so we can get the comments by, completed by April 17th, or do we want to stretch it to May 3rd?
I would be able to do either. I would say with the tree code, it would be helpful if one of those could be stretched to May, out of the two.
Okay,
Okay?
it's fine.
I think the two families been on
Yeah,
longer.
it's since 21.
So why don't we do that, then we'll plan on the 17th for having everything incorporated into the final local law, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, you want a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we hold it over to the April 17th meeting, at which time we'll have the final product, and we will, 7 p.m. or shortly thereafter, and we'll vote on it that night.
Okay,
Bingham to second.
discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, I
Item 4.3, I will make a motion to open the continuation of a public hearing regarding local law H-V1 of 2022 to amend Chapter 57 concerning the regulations governing tree preservation.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
again, I
Anybody?
Dennis Fordham.
Dennis? Evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Fordham Conservation Commission. I'm pleased to see Max Stack is here tonight. We submitted comments on the 25th of January to the proposed revisions to the tree code. We've heard nothing back since, so I'm obviously very interested this evening to see what comments there are. Are there written comments? Will we get the opportunity to maybe talk to Max, have a meeting with him or a Zoom meeting to go over? You know, I fully accept that he probably won't accept all of their revisions, but we'd like to have the opportunity to discuss and come to a consensus on the best tree code we can for the town.
So, yeah, so I had gone through all of the comments that were provided by the gentleman from Cornell Cooperative Extension and from the arborist that reviewed them. There are several comments that I think just merit a change in the code. They're very basic. They make sense. There's no need to even discuss them. I think there are a lot of comments in here that need to be discussed, meaning they need to be flushed out. And I think, so you gave the comments 25. This law was actually written in September. Right? So these types of laws, these, you know, they require referral, they require comment, they require discussion. All the while, the town doesn't have an effective tree ordinance. So what my suggestion to the town board is going to be is I would like to get you a copy of the tree law that is significantly the same as I had given you back into September, incorporating all of the fixes, the you know, easy and not requiring discussion recommendations from both of the gentlemen who reviewed it. And then I'd like to sit down and figure out a way to arrive at the best law. Maybe by the summer, meeting with the MCC, if we have to meet with these people here and get some clarifications, because some of their recommendations are like we should be providing instruction to the building inspector and planning board on how to accomplish tree protection measures such as, what kind of frame do you put around the area you're not supposed to go into. Those type of things require work. If they're going to require somebody to identify drawings, they're going to require details to be fleshed out. Things like, do we have a tree protection zone that's different than the critical root zone? We have to define them. How do you measure a tree on a slope? So these types of questions, worthwhile, need to get them done. But in the meantime, everything's standing still waiting for this code. So my suggestion is what we have now is not workable at all. I didn't see any real hard objections to the way we wrote it. We're all about how to make it better. A lot of the hard objections actually came to the intent chapter, where I think we wanted to identify that we had some intent to be flexible and allow for homeowner preferences, for example. That's not part of the law. We're not going to write that into the law that there's homeowner preferences should be considered. That's not a provision of the law. That's just how we're drafting the law. We want to be reasonable to allow for those homeowner preferences. And even the arborist, had some good points where we said you had to plant natives, and he said, well, maybe that's not realistic. Maybe we should allow for non-native species. Sometimes they do better as replacement. So that's my recommendation. I can definitely get you something again by May, since we'll be working for April for the two-family, that you can put on the books, and then I can work with the Conservation Commission to get as good of a law as you put it adopted.
And Max, I just want to, I'll reaffirm this because I stated this last meeting. Councilwoman Houle and myself were on an Orange County Planning Board seminar via Zoom, and I meant to get the gentleman's name, but him and someone else commented that your revised tree code can be misinterpreted as being worse than the prior one, but it's not. So they complimented you.
Oh.
And somebody else had said it, that it was worse, and I said, no, not if you read it and read through everything. So you got a nice compliment from them.
Yeah, that's great. That was from the Planning Commission?
That was from a gentleman who was involved at the Planning Commission.
For reviewing.
I think that was Eric Schellenberg who actually provided some of the comments.
Yes.
He was on that call.
Yes.
He was.
Yeah.
He was on that call, as was the Commissioner of Planning from Newburgh.
No, well, oh, yes, yeah. In addition to, what's her name from Orange County?
Kate Schmidt.
Kate Schmidt, so.
So if
very
I'm
nice.
understanding your comments correctly, Max, what you're suggesting is that you're going to make the really important fixes now, give us back the tree code so that we can have it in place so that it can be applied to anything that comes before the planning board. And then while the planning board has the for nower, right, we will have conversations regarding some of the more intricate fixes that can be applied to the tree code over the summer.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Can I just make the current tree code still in force? The unrevised tree code?
Well, it's, let Max explain it. I mean, but you can't cut anything down now since it's April 1st anyway.
For the bat, anything
Yeah,
that
for the
might
bat.
be bat.
Yep.
But I think the problem, the principal problem with the old law was that as it's written, it would apply to any tree or sapling in the town of Monroe would be subject to protections. And for years, it was never enforced until recently, when finally the planning board attempted to enforce it, and it was, resulted in a subdivision that would have been just, I forget what the number, $250,000 or something like that in mitigation money. What was the number? minor subdivision. Finally, the question was.
Worry about DG Realty subdivision?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that one was,
yeah, it was up there.
yeah. So I think the reality is, unless you're going to impose fines that could potentially get the town in legal trouble, or we're going to waive it or vary it, or because the provisions as they exist now are not clear at all how they're to be applied. And in applying them, they can apply to literally every tree on a site.
The projects that are currently being considered, Palati Village, for example, is that not attempting to meet the current code?
No,
or is there no
no,
code
they're-
in force?
No, they're attempting to, they're going to have to meet the current code, but they have just got negative decked from SECRA. There's nothing moving forward there as far as construction or anything. They have to go back to the plan, but they haven't even landed the zone yet. So that's, you know, I think you're worried too much about something that's not happening. All right? All right, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
That's all for public comment.
Okay, so I will make a motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing regarding local law HV1 of 2022 to amend Chapter 57 zoning concerning regulations governing tree preservation. Would it be your preference to go May 3rd or May 17th? May 15th?
It would be my preference to go April 20th for the
April
17th
April
for
17th.
family.
family, and the first May meeting
It's
for
May 1st, sorry, May 1st.
May 1st for the tree.
Okay, so I'll say May 1st at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Poole will second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Item 4.5, I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities of the Water District, numbered 14.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay,
No
thank you.
public comment?
Thank you very much, Max. Have a
Thanks,
good evening.
Max.
No public
Take
comment?
care, Max.
No.
Councilwoman Bingham, anything?
We've been trying to get some more grants. We reached out to some state officials, and so far haven't had much luck, but they are still looking to research, and maybe we should keep this open again for another, maybe like 2 months.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the WIA grant is in the summer of 23. So yeah, so how about we push it back to June 21st?
That sounds good. So I'll make a motion that we keep the public hearing open until June 21st, 7 p.m., or as soon thereafter as possible.
Poole will second.
Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, next up, I'll make a motion to open the continuation of the public hearing in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities of Water District number 8.
Basically the same comments that were with Water District 14.
I need a second.
Poole will second.
Okay, sorry about that. I jumped the gun. So basically the same problems we are encountering in 14, we're encountering in 8. So again, maybe we should just hold the public hearing open until June 21st.
7 p.m. or immediately thereafter? You want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion June 21st at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as possible.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. So,
There was no public comment with that either.
so the Water District 14 grant, I'm sorry, is the fall of 2023. And I have to follow up with that. toxic. Have any as to when? All right. Sorry about that. Next up, item 4.7, I'll make a motion to open the continuation of the public hearing to consider the adoption of introductory law number A-V1, amending the town code of the town of Monroe, requiring utility companies to remove inactive, broken, and/or dormant poles within the town boundaries.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ankarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved.
No public comment?
No? Any update?
I'm just waiting for our attorneys to get back.
Are you drafting that, or is?
I think we.
It's in the,
Yeah, it's in the packet, so,
Okay.
yeah. I think if the board is in favor, I think what I'd like to do is keep it open to April 17th, where we would close it and then adopt it that night.
I'll second that.
All right, so I'll make a motion to keep open the public hearing to consider the adoption of introductory law A-V1, amending town code of the town of Monroe, requiring utility companies to remove inactive, broken, and/or dormant poles within town boundaries for April 17th at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ankarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. All right. Item 4.11 is I'll make a motion to open the public hearing to consider the adoption of introductory local law number B-V1 to amend Chapter 57, Senior Citizen Exemption, to add Section 47-18, Subdivision C, concerning veterans' disability compensation. Do I have
Poole
a
will
second?
Second.
Councilwoman Houle, second. Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scankarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved.
No public comment?
No public comment. So just to clarify for everyone, this is to remove any disability compensation from a veteran's total income calculation for their discount in their assessment. So I've spoken to Brian on it. I've spoken to a number of other supervisors on it. For the most part, you don't want your disability compensation added into your total income when you're applying for,
Right.
for a star exemption.
Yeah, because
or-
it lowers there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't say discount, star exemption or something of that sort.
Right.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to keep that open, if there's no other comment. No? All right, I'll make a motion to keep that open to consider the adoption of local introductory law number B-V1 to amend Chapter 57, Senior Citizen Exemption, to add to Section 47-18, Subdivision C, concerning veterans' disability compensation to April 17th at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter. Do I have a
Second
second?
that.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ankarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Item 5.1 is the acceptance of the March 20th, 2023 minutes. I'll make a motion to approve those
I'll second.
for discussion. Okay, so Councilwoman Bingham did bring up a point regarding the asbestos resolution that was passed that evening. So the title of the asbestos resolution notices that the senior center and the roof were both being involved with the CDBG grant. So we would like to clarify that resolution to say that the asbestos inspection, remediation and inspection was for the senior center roof. So if we could just add that to it. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Bingham. She wasn't even here and she figured it out.
Not surprising.
Watch the video clip.
Not much gets by Mary.
Okay, so do we have a? That's a motion.
I'll second that motion to add that wording into the minutes, to amend the minutes with that wording.
Okay, call the question.
Bingham abstains.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Agarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so move.
And now we have to approve the minutes.
What's that? Yeah, so we got to approve the minutes. So then, thanks a lot, Fred. Have a good evening. So we need a motion to approve the minutes as corrected. I'll make that motion.
Full second.
Call the question.
Bingham abstains.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Agarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay. Next up is item 6.1, General Fund Abstract. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe requests approval for Abstract 23-05, General Fund, containing checks 29873 through 29995, totaling $1,154,070.73. So that's $1,154,070.73. I'll make that motion.
Bingham to second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Agarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay. Item 7.1 is the seasonal labor hire for Smith Clove Park. This is a resolution approving the hiring of Matthew Becker for the position of seasonal laborer at Smith Clove Park. His anticipated start date is April 4th, 2023, at a pay rate of $18 per hour. This seasonal appointment shall not exceed the maximum seasonal employment time period of 9 months as set forth by the Orange County Department of Human Resources. Matthew was previously pre-approved for this position by the Orange County Department of Human Resources. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Full second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Agarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, we have a request for Monbassia Park field use, and I'll read the resolution. I'll make the resolution. Be resolved, the following organizations have applied for use of the baseball and soccer fields located at Monbassia Park: Monroe Woodbury Little League, Monroe Woodbury United Soccer, and the Orange County Smash Travel Baseball. Each organization has met with Parks Director Anne-Marie Morris, and all paperwork has been submitted as it pertains to each field, and are aware and agree to the schedule of usage along with rules and regulations. Additionally, certificates of insurance have been submitted naming the town of Monroe as additional insured, along with the fees and any security deposits. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Agarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. All right. Next up is the Senior Center kitchen renovations. So we have received 3 bids for that project. The first bid was from S&L Plumbing and Heating Corp. at $220,000. Next one was from Vinco Builders at $193,000. And the final one was from Premier Building and Construction Management at $170,000. The references have all been checked for Premier Building and Construction Management. I received a letter this afternoon from Sean Arnott from MHE Engineering, and he said all paperwork is in, and as such, he requested that we approve the Premier Building and Construction Management base bid at $170,000. Any discussion? Well, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion?
Who will make that motion?
Hingham to second.
Any discussion on it? Nope. Okay, call the question.
What's their time frame to get started?
So we have to complete it by the end of July based on the CDBG bid requirements, because this was an additional monies that came in from the COVID monies. So we have to get that done. They're aware of that. They're aware it has to be completed and that there's a schedule associated with it as far as different stages of it go. So, and it's actually gonna tie into the roof renovation because of the Ansel system that's gonna be putting this into the kitchen. So, call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Gancarello, aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Next up is the Dial-A-Bus Consulting Agreement.
7.4, Supervisor Senior Center roof.
Sorry, you're right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, resolution authorizing the availability for bids of the Senior Center roof replacement and accessibility improvements project beginning April 3rd, 2023, with a bid opening scheduled for May 3rd, 2023 at 2 p.m. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Yeah, we need a motion. I'll make the motion.
Poole will second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Gancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Madam Clerk, we have all the documents in-house for that already, right?
On the
Okay.
website and posted, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that correction, too.
No problem.
7.4 is a Dial-A-Bus Consulting, 7.5, Dial-A-Bus Consulting Agreement. We need to approve shared services intermunicipal agreement between the town of Warwick and the town of Monroe for consulting services relating to Monroe's Dial-A-Bus program for the period of March 13th, 2023 through December 13th, 2023. The fee for the contract period is $18,000, and that would be paid no later than July 1, 2023. Please note that every penny of that comes back to us from the federal government in reimbursement. So
I'll make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with Warwick for this agreement. It's worked out very well for us. Their oversight and what they provided to us since we've been contracting with them has been invaluable. And again,
and
doesn't cost us anything, so it's great.
have a second?
I'll second.
Jen Crovers has been spectacular there.
Yeah.
She's truly benefited our service, and I think with a new head bus driver,
Absolutely.
Ed's going to do a great job there as well. So I've already seen a few major improvements that have really reaped benefits to the. Call the question then?
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Gancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Next up is item 7.6. I'd like to table that till next meeting. I'll make a motion to table that. It's a Monroe Volunteer Ambulance Corps agreement.
I'll second it.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Gancarello, aye.
Good night.
The reason I tabled it, I'm waiting for an email from the Ambulance Corps Board regarding a correction to the agreement. So, okay, item 7.7 is the approval or designation of a stormwater management officer. I'll make a motion to appoint Deputy Highway Superintendent Bill Brown as the Town of Monroe Stormwater Management Officer as it relates to the town's MS4 program.
Hingham to second.
Pat, do you want to expand on that? I mean, Billy's been doing it for how many years, so.
He's very versed in our stormwater management and all of the MS4. He works very well with McGooey, Hauser, and Etzel. He has a certain man that he works for or with there. I think that would be really good for the town.
Thank you. Question?
Aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Gancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, item 7.8. I saw Mike here, Mike Morganti from Pilati Village as their engineer. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing tonight?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Good, thanks for asking.
Just so everyone's aware, Mike had asked to get on the agenda so that he could just to give an update to the board where we are. No decisions are being made tonight. That's basically it.
Yeah, so just to bring the board up to speed as to the status of the project. So we've recently completed the secret process with the planning board. The planning board a few weeks ago granted us a negative declaration. That's one of the first steps that's required for us to come back to the town board for consideration of landing the CCR floating zone. Just to give you a couple of highlights, I have some plans. I could also, if you give me 1 minute, I could probably mount the boards real quick and we can go through some stuff.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Like Mary Poppins.
So the board can see that? Okay.
Yes.
So what we're looking at here is the northern side of Harriman Heights Road. And I'll just take you through a quick tour of what's going on here. So we have an entrance located right here. By the way, we're utilizing pretty much the existing entrances that are actually associated with the site. Those that are not being utilized, we are going to be eliminating with the Orange County Department of Public Works when we finish up our highway work permit with them. But this is currently an existing location here for an entrance. There's another one over here by the edge of Little Pals Preschool, which is on the other side of the map that's shown here. But essentially, this will be our main entrance where we come in. Road splits to the left and to the right. This is like the area here where we're going towards Little Pals Preschool. And what we got shown here in the center portion here are two multifamily buildings with a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. And what we have here on the western side of the site are 4 townhouse buildings also with a mix of 2 and 3 bedrooms. We also have that town soccer field, which is located on the left portion of the plan over there with adequate parking and a soccer field. And so what we've designed here is parking that's in the rear of the multifamily buildings to provide some additional screening as possible where we're able to provide it. And the same thing here with the townhouse buildings. We've actually located the parking in between the buildings to try to utilize the buildings for a little bit of screening. These 2 multifamily buildings here are served again by parking in the back, and what you've got shown in this area over here is what we call an infiltration basin. So a majority of the stormwater that's generated on the site from impervious surfaces will actually go to that facility. Our sediment basin in the front will pre-treat that water. It'll overflow into the infiltration basin where it will percolate through the ground and provide water quality treatment. And then larger storm events will overflow and be discharged through that pipe right there into what's already shown as an existing Army Corps of Engineers wetland. We've got 2 drilled wells over here in the central portion of the site. Both of those wells have been pump tested and provide adequate water capacity. There was no negative impacts during the pumping test to any adjacent residences, dwellings, or properties. So that in general is like kind of a summary of what we're showing here. I mean, there's, just so the boards, there's 61 sheets to the plan. I brought the site plan.
How many? 61?
61 sheets and counting, all right, and counting. So, so this comes with like a tremendous landscaping plan, which these plans right now don't do it justice. The landscaping associated with both sides of the street are going to be phenomenal, right? They're going to look, it's going to look really, really nice. So in general, this is what the layout looks like now for the northern portion of the site, that being on the north side.
I noticed you changed the townhouses. They were in a different configuration.
So we worked slightly, yes, slightly. We had worked that out with the planning board through the planning board process. At one point, we had like a cul-de-sac turnaround here. At one point, we even had that road connecting back out onto Harriman Heights Road. But being that we do have another access on this side, there's really no need for that. And it gives this portion here, which has got that little bit more of a residential feel to it, being a townhouse, a street that feels like you belong on a residential street, so to speak. So that was kind of the impetus for that design as it's shown right now.
Mike, I'm sorry, how far is that from those townhouses to the soccer field area?
So, I mean, that's on the site plan sheet. I can pull that out later and give you a little bit more detail. But I think we're probably about 100 to 150 feet away.
You don't think there'll be any impacts from, I mean, listen, mostly soccer games are day
Of
type,
course.
Yeah, right.
Of course. I mean, it's something we discussed during the process too, but keep in mind there's also pretty thick vegetation proposed as a buffer between them, not to mention there's existing large trees there which we're able to maintain. So I think we're going to be able to create that separation, so to speak, from those two entities. So that's kind of the northern site. There was an existing maintenance garage located generally in this area right here, but as a part of the proposed development, we're looking to relocate it in this spot right here, which is just a minor thing to note. Southern side of Harriman Heights Road here, which has got this semi-C-shaped structure here, which is a senior housing building. We've got parking, again, located kind of in the rear back here and off to the side in the rear over here, again, with extensive landscaping, again, to try to minimize any visual impacts that would exist from the road. We've got a large New York State DEC wetland located in the back over here. And we've got a little small Army Corps of Engineer wetland located on the south side of the site over here. This project, I'm proud to say, produces very, very, very little disturbance of the wetlands. I think on the Army Corps of Engineers side, we're about 350 square feet or so. And on the DEC side, we're not disturbing any actual DEC wetlands themselves, but what we are proposing in conjunction with the DEC's agreement is just a gravel road from this parking area that allows us to actually get to that wastewater treatment building that's in the back over there. There's nothing there right now, so we don't want to drive over dirt and raw grass to get to that building. We are proposing a gravel road just for access. It's about 5,686 square feet, I believe, of disturbance. It's been permitted with the DEC already. Again, it's for the proper operation and maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant, which is why it's been proposed. So we fully meet the intent of the CCR zone as it relates to, protecting our vital environmental resources that are on the site. Overall, between both sites, we're keeping approximately about a 72% open space, where I think 65% is required. We're at 72 right now, yeah. And we're also utilizing a lot of the existing building pads that were created way back when this was like the dormitories and the military academy. So a lot of the existing site where the development was proposed, where there's still existing pavement, we're kind of reutilizing those areas and proposing this project that's before the board right now.
Mike, if I can interrupt you, I'm sorry. I know
Sure,
you're
no
trying
problem.
to get through the presentation here, but
Sure.
the 72%, roughly, what percentage would you say is wetlands? And that's 72%.
I would have to get back to you with that exact number. I don't know it off the top of my head. I mean, it's a fair portion. I would guess a venture at least probably 50%, but I could give you an actual number next time we're back.
Thank you.
Yep, not a problem. So yeah, we've got a stormwater pond again here in the front, an infiltration basin similar to what I had mentioned earlier, and then we have another one in this location here in the southeastern portion of the site. Again, this will discharge to the Army Corps of Engineer wetland that's on this side of the property, and this one will discharge to the adjacent area, or just I should say, before the adjacent area of the New York State DEC wetland. We also drilled some wells in this location here and here. Pump testing for that also yielded adequate water for the project with no impact to any properties that are off-site. That pretty much summarizes the project in a nutshell. I mean, I'm glad to answer any questions or concerns the board has at this time.
Mike?
Sure.
What's the max height of the buildings? The maximum height?
So the maximum height of the buildings, I have to pull out the architectural plans for that. Give me 1 second. I know we are in conformance with whatever the code states, but let me get you those numbers. This is an elevation view of the multifamily build. I'm sorry, this is the elevation view actually of the senior housing complex, which approximately is about 36 feet height at its average roof height. So that's about 36 feet. These are the townhouses, which appear to be about almost 23 feet, actually 22 feet, 11 inches to be exact. The multifamily buildings are about 27 feet tall. So there's no individual building here that's really excessive in terms of its height. We also did do a visual impact study on this. We looked at what you would see from a quarter mile, like 5 mile radius from all around the project, and there's really very little you'll see from the surrounding area as it relates to this particular project, topographically speaking, and due to the fact that we are surrounded by wetlands, it has a lot of natural existing vegetation and provides a lot of natural screening. So those two things combined, our visual impact was very, very little, if any.
When did you do that study?
That's a pretty detailed question. I would say about a year or so ago, but I'd have to double check.
So during the spring, or?
We looked at it leaf on, leaf off
you did
conditions.
look at it?
Oh, yes, yeah,
Okay.
we did. Yeah, we certainly did. So we did take a look at both conditions there.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more question regarding water. There are possible future wells to be developed. You had mentioned there were test wells drilled.
That's correct.
Would you have a water processing facility on site?
That's correct. We're going through that design right now, actually, with the health department. So it takes a little while. So we are right now putting together the design for any storage tanks, fire protection, things of that nature, and we'll be submitting hopefully to the health department fairly soon. But we do have adequate capacity available, which is usually the biggest hurdle. We'll have some type of water treatment involved. It's worth noting that we did find some perfluorinated compounds.
Just about everywhere I'm hearing.
Well, you know, interestingly enough, I'll just give you an order of magnitude response. Apparently, it's like 1 inch in like 60 million miles. That's like the detection limit. It's really, really, so you probably find it if you tested the water in your own home. So having said that, though, it's still there. It's what the regulation is. It's very easily treatable with granular activated carbon or other type of resin material, which is what we'll propose when the health department does its review, and we'll make sure we comply.
I understand you also met with the fire district?
Yes, we did have a meeting with the fire department in terms of how to provide proper fire protection. In discussions with them, we will end up providing a storage tank for fire flow specifically. It'll also, at this point, it makes sense to use it to provide domestic demand as well. So domestic demand and fire flows will be provided through that water storage tank.
Else?
Mike, do you have any other projects that you've done locally or in New York?
Yeah, I have plenty.
I know Wardsboro. Where else in Wardsboro? Where other than Wardsboro? Where else?
Have I done anything in Wardsboro?
No, don't you guys have a project set up in Wardsboro? Didn't you do something in Wardsboro?
Over the years, I've done projects there, but I don't think I have anything recently there. Not in Mamakating or Wardsboro. Not up in that area. No. Not in the village.
I'll probably provided cold cuts up there.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Trying to make the connection.
I'll let you know either way.
You did do the townhouses, though, at 310 Stage Road.
I did do those.
Yes.
Yes, that's my project, yeah. Yeah. Which I'm proud to say, I think it came out pretty nice.
It did
Very
come out.
nice.
It was very nice.
That was a nice reutilization of that property.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate the update.
Thank you. So my understanding is the planning board will ultimately give you, the town board, a referral.
We're waiting for their
that,
comments
yep.
on the referral.
And then we'll come before the board again at some point for possibly the scheduling of a public hearing for
Yes.
the intent to land in the zone. Okay?
Right,
You all have a
thank you
great
very
night
much.
and wonderful Easter if I don't
Yes.
see everybody. Okay?
You
Thanks,
too.
Mike.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too. All right. Next up is Eagle View Estates Sewer Use and Confirmation, item 7.9.
Evening. My name's John Coldonado. Oh, excuse me. I'm a real estate broker consultant with Cushman Wakefield out of the Newburgh office. Along with me tonight, I have Mr. Glenn Schaefer, who's the president of the entity that owns the property. Just going to give you a little scenario is what brought us in front of your board tonight. October of 2018, we applied with the planning board to build 3 homes on this property. The subject property is 1 lot on Walton Terrace and 2 lots access off of Lakes Road. Now we're 4.5 years in front of the board. We're down to the final thing to get the approval, and we're told, oh, by the way, you're not in the sewer district, and you were removed from the sewer district. And it turns out to be that that's not true, okay? You look at the maps that I submitted to you, the property is in the sewer district. Moodham told us many a time, stop coming to us anymore. You're in the sewer district, okay? What some people thought was that, they said in 2016, you were removed from the sewer district. And that turned out to be false also. I have the tax bills from 2016. They collected sewer tax money on the property in 2016. Mysteriously, in 2017, they stopped billing for the sewer.
O&M.
The sewer,
The
right.
O&M.
So when we were told, I know the council's not here, but when we did briefly speak to Mr. Nugent about it, you know, he suggested that we hire an engineer, apply to the town board to be annexed back in to the sewer district, which is really unnecessary because Moodham still to this day will tell you we're in the sewer district. And to ask a property owner to spend another $25,000 when we already have $100,000 in fees that we paid the past 4.5 years to both the ZBA and the planning board on this project. The paperwork I submitted to you clearly shows that the town board in 1998 not only approved, they issued 3 sewer hookup permits for this property. Okay, you got copies of that shows it. And also, even as of today, in Orange County, records show, if you look at the bottom of the Orange County report, that right up to 22, you can see that not only was it's still in the sewer district number 8, but it was granted 3 hookups. And that's what we're looking to do, is hook up these homes to, the property has the right to hook up to it. So the planning board is looking for something from the town board to say that this is as true as the fact, because they thought we were removed from it, and we're never removed from it.
All right, so, I mean, we've had conversation on this, John, in the past, and I totally understand your point of view here, and I do agree with it after looking at it. And you do understand that the reason most of us here and in the Muna district, especially Brian Nugent, thought it did not have permits, which it does, it's been proven that it does, was that it was taken off the tax roll for Muna.
I think from the investigation and work I did, what happened with this property, not once, not twice, but 3 times, lot sections and blocks were changed on the subject property. And that's where I think the confusion came in, where it got dropped off of not paying sewer tax. I mean, how many people, when you look at your sewer bill, when you look at your tax bill, everybody gets it. They just look at the bottom line, what they're paying in taxes. And they never look at each individual thing, library tax, this tax, that tax. So no one ever noticed that the taxes were being, stopped being paid on it in 2017. And I believe the reason that happened is because 3 times the lot section and blocks were changed on this, and whether it was a glitch in the program or what, but how they coded in the town. But even originally they couldn't proceed with the subdivision of this property until the town board approved the hookups, because it would have been, the planning board at that time couldn't approve it because it would have been non-conforming. They would be approving something that's not conforming. And when they went in front of the town board in 1998, they were granted 3 sewer hookups.
So what are the actual lots associated with it? I know you have one here that's listed at 18,460.
Yeah, right now the numbers are 60 and 61. 18,460 and 18,461.
What's the third lot?
Sorry?
The third lot is not in the town of Monroe?
No, well, what it is currently now is 2 lots, and one of the lots, we're going to be cutting it again to put 2 houses on.
Okay.
So it's, that was another misconception on the board. It's not a 3-lot subdivision. It's actually a 2-lot subdivision, because Walton Terrace is pre-existing non-conforming.
You ever paid back the O&M for the years? Have you ever paid back to the county the O&M that they, didn't charge you for?
Sewer?
Yeah.
No, this just came about. We didn't know that we'd taken out of it, Well, they said we were taken out. Everybody knows you can't just be removed from a district. Owners have to be notified. It's like, I had the discussion with Mr. Cardone with that. It's not, there's no paperwork trail. It was never, and Moodham will tell you you're in the district. We never removed you from the district. You were never removed. Like I said, I think the confusion came into when all the lot section and blocks were changed.
Excuse me, sir, how long has your client owned the property for?
Excuse me?
How long has your client owned the property for?
2018.
2018. And when he purchased it from the previous owner, did the previous owner provide proof that it was in either Muna or Orange County Sewer District number 1?
Yeah,
and did he provide copies that he'd been paying sewer tax or anything like that?
Yes, we have all that. You can even look at the records that I submitted. The sewer this property's been paying sewer tax for 25 years, up to the point in 2017 when it mysteriously, nobody, Moodin District, Orange County Sewer District, Town Planning Board, every board doesn't know how, why, or where they stopped paying taxes. No one's got proof that it was removed.
Well, the town wouldn't have the ability to remove the property from, right? Because that's done by Orange County. Moodna, I've been on and off the Moodna board. That never came up during my time there, where they said, hey, we're removing, any property that I can remember in my couple of terms on that board. Mary, do you remember removing a property?
No.
Yeah. So, I don't, mysteriously, I don't know if it's mysterious. I don't know if this is some type of programming error. I have no idea. But it never came before us, is what I'm trying to tell you. And it didn't come before Moodna either.
But the map still, the map clearly shows. And not only that, the consultants, Lankin Tully, 2019, we got 2 or 3 letters approving the layout, approving the hookup, the sewer,
To Moodna.
Yes, yep.
I personally don't have a problem sending a letter to the planning board. I'm just one person up here. The one thing that which is not an exorbitant amount.
No, we don't have an objection to that.
Yeah,
we spent $100,000 already. What's a few more dollars?
It's not going to be an exorbitant amount because I'm going back, and it just has. I have to find the O&M though, but the debt that was on your property, well, you might not even be subject to O&M because you don't have a home on it. So that could be what. But I could be wrong there, but I just want to double check that with the county. I'll go back and I'll do, and I will ask you that we have all the information. If we could put this back on the agenda for April 17th, if nobody has any objections to that.
No, but Supervisor Cardone, I would also like to ask the county, because I understand your point. It was originally 3 sewer hookups for parcel 18-4-6. And it says pending approval of Dorothy Post, who was the assessor at the time, and Phil Salerno, who was the engineer for Moodna. So I would like the county to give us, they should be able to give us a reason why 18-4-6 was, the parcel numbers were changed. If we start with this, they should be able to give us a paper trail, as you said before.
Well, what we were told was originally, when they went in front of the planning board originally, it was one parcel. It showed as one parcel on the lot. So they could not proceed with giving them a subdivision because it would be non-conforming. Okay, you have to go to the town board and get permission to hook up or be into the sewer district. And that's what they did. They gave them the approval for 3 permits, and then you had to go back to the planning board and get the approval for the subdivision. So that took a couple more years, and at that point, when the approval was given, what do you mean? When the approval was given, then we created 2 more lots, so they reissued lot section and blocks to it. And then for some strange reason, I don't know why, when they did Twin Lakes, when they were doing Twin Lakes subdivision, annexed that into the sewer district, they changed the lot section and blocks on this property again. It was changed, lot section and blocks on this property were changed 3 times. For what reason, I don't know.
Okay, I appreciate you both being here tonight. Let us do a little research. Obviously, what is the flavor of the board currently on this, Mike?
Listen, I think we just have to look at the material we have here, discuss it with the town attorney, and come back on the 7th.
Also, Moodna, I believe, is meeting next week, so we might be able to get a little history from Tom Bell or one of the other commissioners.
And Lankin Tully will be there. We can speak to them in person about it as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we did at one, you know, at one point we were going to go that route, hire Petrusek and Fowl to do a map, because Mr. Nugent said, we'll do a map, show us where the lines are, and petition the town board to put you back into the sewer. When he investigated it, what am I going to draw a map for? The map shows you guys are in the district. And Moodham will tell you we're still in the district.
All right.
All right?
The lot block in section has not changed since your client bought the property, right?
No, it hasn't
Still the
changed
same,
since
it's just changed
2018.
in
It hasn't
17,
changed.
It looks like, so.
Before it changed 3 times.
Okay. All right.
All right. All right, thank you very much.
I meant
Appreciate your
tree,
patience.
not tree like the tree.
Yeah. All right, thanks again. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 7.10 is the asbestos inspection and proposal for Water District Number 1 Pump House Building. So be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe, I'll make this motion, passes a resolution approving the proposal submitted by Air Environmental Consulting, LLC, known as AIR, AIR, to perform a limited pre-demolition asbestos inspection and bulk sampling of suspect asbestos containing building material on the roof and exterior of Water District Number 1 Pump House Building located near 169 Rye Hill Road. The estimated total fee for this inspection is $1,400.
Bring to second.
Any discussion?
Has to be done.
Yeah. Yep. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarella, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved.
That's all they find.
Item 1711, I'll defer to Madam Clerk. This is a St. Jude fundraiser.
Yes, so our office was presented with a fundraiser for St. Jude's. Several of the clerk's offices, I believe, were presented with this and will be participating. It's a minimum donation of $1. We'll be provided with boots, like the little sneakers. You may have seen them in like ShopRite supermarkets. And that the proceeds from that will benefit St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So, and this is through May 15th. So just looking, I guess, for approval for the board to allow us to do this fundraiser for St. Jude's.
Where will you hang the boots?
Probably in the hall lobby so that everyone can see them. And then they would like us to take pictures with them and send them into the station.
So both Madam Clerk and I spoke to council this afternoon, and obviously this is something that would need to benefit the town. And what I would like you to do is if you could call St. Jude's and just find out how many children in the town of Monroe have benefited from St. Jude's. Okay? So, I mean, provided... I'm sure there's a few. Yeah, provided, and listen, if there's one, it's obviously something. I know that in the past when we've had employees whose relatives have passed away, we've done collections in-house and submitted that donation to St. Jude's. So, yeah, so if you could do that, and we do find that there are at least one or multiple, does the board have any objection if Madam
No
Clerk goes
objection.
ahead with it? No?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay. Do we need to pass a resolution with that, or just? Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. Thanks, Val. Thanks for stepping up with that, too. Okay, item 7.1, Monroe Lakeside Fire and Rescue Company has requested to do a fundraiser for the Lakeside Fire and Rescue Company. They would like to hold a garage sale on Saturday, September 9th, 2023, with a rain date of Sunday, September 10th, 2023. They would like to know if they could have a porta potty available for the guests. That's going to be outside like it was last year in the parking lot. They would also like highway to provide no parking signs on Reynolds Road, so residents don't complain about that, even if it's cones. And they would like to sell hamburgers and hot dogs and soda and snacks outside as well. So they were here last year. They did it. There was like 5 weeks when they submitted to us. They did it, and it was pretty successful.
It was a good event.
Yeah. The library had theirs the same day. Monroe Free Library. We got a couple complaints. Why do you approve this when the library's having theirs? But in all reality, when I spoke to people, a lot of them that were here went to the library or were going. So, you know.
They do. They
yeah.
go yard sale shopping.
Yeah. So that's that. So, I mean, I'll make a motion to approve them to hold the garage sale on Saturday, September 9th, with a rain date of Sunday, September 10th.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
I will go to the village and get the yard sale permit for the town.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we will, we'll get insurance from them and all the other particulars associated with it. Okay. Call the question? Or did somebody second it?
Oh,
I did.
Okay. Call the
Bingham,
question?
aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Bancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Item 8.1 is the water meter upgrade project. I was remiss last meeting because we did not approve the allocation of the $100,000 ARPA funding. We discussed it. We just didn't include it in the resolution. So we need to make that resolution, and I will read it as follows. Board of Town of Monroe will allocate $100,000 in ARPA funding to water districts number 1, 2, 7, 8, 10, 12, and 14 for the water meter upgrade project. Do I have a second?
Second for discussion.
Sure.
14 is definitely going to be able to use the ARPA funds.
Well, here's the deal. They're not necessarily going to be able to use them right now, but we still have to allocate it to them based on a number of users over the entire town's number of users.
Those things are very...
Yeah, exactly. So it wouldn't be fair if we didn't allocate money to them.
Exactly. Okay.
Do I have a second? We
I
had a
did.
second, right?
Bingham.
Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Bancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. Item 8.2, we got a call today from resident Michael Stodden. He is asked to be removed from the agenda. He's in the process of selling the house. Okay, item 8.3 is the, so this is, the paperwork here is all, Council, would you like to make the correction on this? So it was not titled correctly. It's not the drainage district, it's the public.
Drainage district has to take place now is
Turn your mic on.
town board has to authorize the supervisor to execute the public improvement security agreement. We would just ask, obviously, that it be by town council.
Do we have a draft on that yet? Or
We
Right,
do,
we
and
do.
there have been edits going back and forth, so.
Okay. All right, I'll make that motion, authorizing the supervisor to sign the
Public improvement,
improvements, the PISA, yes, for DG management,
Bingham to second.
and a form acceptable to council.
And Bingham to second.
Okay, any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Bancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Okay, item 8.4 is the use of the senior center room and the rental fee for Pine Tree Homeowners Association. We need to amend the prior rental fee for them because they are a not-for-profit, not a corporation. So that will be amended to read $25. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarella, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Public comment.
Maureen Richardson?
Maureen Richardson, Harriman Heights Road in Monroe. Essentially, every time I take a look at CCR developments as of late, I just automatically think to myself what the residents of Monroe and their first impressions might be. And as someone who has lived here all their life, that gut first impression is that this is a lot to trade for not getting much in return for that land and that density. Specifically for Pilati Village, I think it is easier to take because, as I was just reassured, they have a very intricate landscaping plan. They are trying to adapt the plan to what residents in that area need. But again, as someone who lives on Harriman Heights Road, it's a hard pill to swallow to say double or triple the population of Harriman Heights all in one go and not know essentially how construction is going to affect my home, the noise level of the surrounding residents, if trucks are going to be passing with dirt, and what's going to happen essentially to my peace of mind and my quality of life living on that road, especially when it is a county road and we don't receive, say, leaf pickup and other services. So to add that amount of traffic coupled with the direction of, like, say, Rye Hill Road and that development emptying out onto Orange Turnpike, Pilati Village turning onto Harriman Heights and emptying out onto Orange Turnpike when people are turning that direction. And given the fact that this town board also had designs to put a theme park at the same intersection all at the same time, a resident on that side of town starts to wonder, did we wrong you in some way? But again, we do want somewhere where our seniors feel comfortable, and I think we need to start considering sidewalks. We need to start considering amenities for kids in that area because the kids can't walk down to, like, Harriman Playground safely because of the speed of the cars, the rate of the cars at times of day, the thin sides of the road. Parents don't feel comfortable even letting their kids play in the front yards of those homes because cars have overturned, flipped over stone walls and wound up in the front yards of residents on that road multiple times, taken out mailboxes, taken out garbage cans where their kids stand and wait for the bus. So it just needs to be mitigated with some kind of speed limit change, anything that we can think of to make the residents more comfortable about increasing traffic, increasing flow on that road, safety, and as well as water quality, water consumption. Well water is a huge issue for the residents on that road. And I do want to thank Mike because he did just speak to me out in the hall for a while and did mitigate a lot of my concerns about landscaping, that it will be native, that it will be screening as much as it can. But again, when you hear something like 50% of the conserved area is going to be wetlands, everyone in Monroe wants you to take a second look at these codes, these CCR codes. Thank you.
Bill Kasdan?
Margaret Road.
Just repeat that, because I don't think it was...
Bill Kasdan, Margaret Road, Monroe.
Good evening. How are you?
So far, so good. On the surface, this is a great project. Senior housing, working families.
Excuse me, Bill, I just need if you can raise the mic up a little higher. If the red light's not on, it's not picking you up. Thank you.
So I said, on the surface, this seems to be an ideal project for our town. It has senior housing, it has affordable housing. Below the surface, I have concerns about the water and the effect on the neighbors, or in the surrounding area, the traffic, and the wider surrounding area, how it's affected by the other developments around it. Does conform to the CCR, which is a problem for me, but it's an issue with the CCR, not with the project. So that's about all I got for now.
Thank you.
Call for public comment.
Else?
Nope.
Comment? Harry?
No.
No, I mean, the project meets a lot of requirements that Orange County as a whole and Monroe specifically is lacking, and that's affordable housing. It's very difficult for young people and for seniors who are retired to be able to stay in the area, and we'd like to keep them in the area, and this will go a long way. There are several things that we share the same concerns, and that a lot of that will come out through the give and take with this project, and I'm sure that we're going to get to something that's going to meet everybody's needs.
Councilman McGinn?
Yeah, just regarding the general comment about the CCR and people having misgivings about it, many of the people I speak to think it's what the town board did in enacting that law was brilliant. And you'd be hard pressed to find another law that gives this board and the planning board the unprecedented control over housing types, square footage, mix of housing types, and the preservation of open space in perpetuity that you find in that law. And we didn't pull that from thin air. Our planner did a lot of work and a lot of research and took that from other municipalities that have used it and used it successfully, highly successfully. And I think if you keep an open mind and you look at a lot of those positives that come with it, basically it's giving this board and future boards the ability to lock down the large tracts of land that are left, which aren't very many, in this town, and say this is exactly how it's going to be developed. And if you do that, like we've done here, you'll be able to get positive outcomes, and you'll be able to answer the needs of the town and what needs to be done. So.
Agarello?
No, I don't have anything.
I just got two comments. One on the water. Drawdown tests were done on those wells, and there wasn't any significant effect to the surrounding areas. And then the other comment is, sidewalks on Harriman Heights Road so that kids can walk down to Harriman Playground and Park. That won't fly because Harriman doesn't allow Town of Monroe residents in their park because we don't pay taxes into Harriman. That's it. Anybody else? Nope. I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Second. Call. What's that? You tell me the purpose.
Apparently he doesn't know the purpose.
Litigation.
Litigation.
Yeah, litigation. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Motion to return to our regularly scheduled meeting of Monday, April 3rd, 2023. Can I get a second?
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. No decision was made regarding the litigation. What I would like to do is to set a public hearing on April 17th at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter to discuss a new local law regarding
Authorizing the use of
video conferencing for town board members. That's why I keep you around, for the wording. you know.
Okay, I thought you wanted me to do this, but
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Please do.
no.
Please do.
You've stolen.
Counsel, please.
You have stolen my thunder.
All right,
So,
well,
Go
sorry.
right ahead, sir.
That's sufficient.
Would you like to vote on it? We'll let you vote on it tonight? Not that it's going to count, but, you know.
Do you want to second it, Bobby?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to second it? No? Okay. Who will second it?
Okay. Discussion, council.
I would, do we need to authorize council to draft that law and have it ready for the 17th?
Yes.
All right, so
What's that? Right away. Well, you got to post a public hearing. Yeah, notice it.
We'll provide the notice to Val. Also, with the local law, you have to adopt certain policies and procedures when you're running these meetings via video conference. So we'll provide a draft of those policies and procedures along with the local law.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So have a second, right?
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved.
All right.
If there is no further business, did you have anything tonight about highway or no?
All I want to say is trucks are getting broke down. Hopefully snow's over, and we're going to be moving on to bigger and better things like potholes and doing a little bit of catch basin work, manhole work, maybe even a little bit of surface treatment work within the next couple months. And
Right.
I just want to say that being the first winter in the town of Monroe, these guys did a fantastic job. I know it was slow in the beginning, but March was very tiring for them because the storms were lasting 2 days straight, and they did a great job.
Yes, totally.
Sure did.
That at our next
That.
front portion of the meeting. So, if there's no other business, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
McKenna, aye.
Okay.